Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Power Fridays Live. You're here with Devon Joseph. I'm filling in for Ms. Janelle Pulley tonight, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm here with Miss Yolanda Brisbane, and we're going to get into all the things about Miss Brisbane in a second. First, let me go ahead and pay some bills, take care of the intro, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Power Fridays Live, the channel that aims to make a difference in the world through transformation, spiritual growth, and for entrepreneurs. Our vision is to empower individuals to live their lives with purpose and to make a positive impact on the world. We believe that power and purpose are the driving forces behind success and fulfillment in both personal and professional life. Through our broadcast, we discuss business strategies and techniques that can help entrepreneurs achieve their goals and take their business to the next level. We believe that through sharing knowledge and experience, we can empower each other to succeed and make a difference in the world. Now here's our host, Janelle Pulley.
Well, we're back. We're back, and we're gonna have a great night tonight. We're gonna do a deep dive into the Harsa community transformation with Miss Yolanda Brisbane, a dynamite community engagement specialist. I'm just so honored to have her on tonight, whose life works is a testament to the power of nurturing potential and rewriting destinies. From the challenging streets of the Bronx, New York, during the academic to prestigious national panels in Washington, D.C. Yolanda's journey is nothing short of inspiring. Her pioneering contributions span across a vast areas such as youth and family development, community building, grassroots advocacy, and grant management. With a start at the Madison Square Garden Boys and Girls Club um, in the Bronx, New York. Yolanda laid the foundation of her mission amidst the city grimmest battle against drugs, empowering youths to see beyond the haze of substance abuse and envision a brighter future. Yolanda's remarkable path saw her serving the New York State juvenile justice system in roles that radically changed lives, from street worker to program managers. She was the visionary behind Governor George Pataki's Youth Leadership Congress and was deeply involved in New York's first program using electric monitoring for family court adjudication. Her approach: meet young individuals where they are, recognize the depth of their story, and empowering them to reinvent their narrative. Returning to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America at Kibbs Bay with a treasure trove of experience, Yolanda's leadership as the unit director of the nation's largest Boys and Girls Clubhouse propelled the organization to unprecedented heights, managing vast grants and leading teams of over 200 people. She became a beacon of hope, transforming community spaces into thriving ecosystems and of support and progress. Yolanda's accolade speaks volume, from featuring in the New York Times to collaborating with the National Office of Drug Control Policy under the Obama administration. Her expertise has illuminated national panels and television discussions, sharing innovative practice in youth development and standing shoulder to shoulder with figures like the U.S. drug czar. Um, Prepare for an evening tonight of compelling dialogue, rich insight, and transformational stories with Ms. Yolanda Brisbane. Power Fridays Live is happy to have you here with us, so we can dive into the sphere of a woman whose work not only changes life but molds future. So with that being said, Miss Yolanda Brisbane, welcome to Power Fridays Live. I had to give you a nice little introduction there because
Thank you.
done so much, and especially for our community. So it needs to be said. It needs to be heard. Um, One of the questions I had as we're opening today.
Thank you, Devon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's just jump into it, right? We're gonna watch the chats. If anybody's watching and you have any questions, just put it in the chat, and we'll get to those questions. But Yolanda, your journey began amidst one of New York's city's toughest era. What inspired you to start working with youth during the crack epidemic?
I would say that my passion for working with young people, it's not what I went to school for. I went to school, I studied African American studies. I was a communications major with a focus in public relations and journalism. So I saw myself taking on that type of career. But somewhere towards my senior year, I did complete that degree because I didn't want to turn back and start over. But I realized that there was something more for me to do. And someone told me about an opening at this Boys and Girls Club, and I went for the interview. But I would start with my mom. My mom always had a passion for young people, especially in our community. She always encouraged people, and if there was a young person that perhaps, maybe the adult spoke about, maybe this young lady's pregnant or what have you. I noticed that my mom would gravitate towards that person and encourage them, and inspire them. So I would say that my work with young people started there. And, at a certain point in my career, people ask me, well, how do you do what you do? And, what can you say when it's in you, when you're born into it, right? And it's part of your DNA almost. So the work landed me in the South Bronx. It was during the height of the crack epidemic. And I landed at the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. And you mentioned the word community. And when I walked into that Boys and Girls Club, it was a community within a community. That building was on Hoe Avenue and 174th Street in the Bronx. And it was the hub of the community. It was everything. There were the mothers, the fathers, the staff were the mothers, they were the fathers, they were the grandparents. That was where Thanksgiving dinner took place. That was Christmas. That was young people that worked the Summer Youth Employment Program who may have had a parent that was strung out on drugs. There were men there that would take their summer checks, give them a portion of it, and hold the rest. And at the end of the summer, they put them in a van and took them to the outlets to shop for school. So that location was everything. And I would say outside of my mom, that gave me the framework and the foundation on how to do community and how to embrace everyone in that community, no matter what their status is or appears to be. And that is where I learned that you get one shot because you may not see that young person tomorrow. So what impact did you make today?
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing I love the foundation because we have to give credit to the people that has set us on the right path, and just you relating it to your mom is huge, because sometimes we forget of how much our parents put in to you know really get us on the path, the right path, so to speak.
Absolutely.
That's huge. And
Absolutely.
we really have to thank her because all the work you have done within our community because of that path, she was able to put you on based on how she moved with the other people. A lot of people benefit from that because of the work you have been able to do. We have a question in the chat from Mr. Elroy Jones. Have you written a book?
I have not, but you know what? Maybe he's on to something. I have not. Hey, doors always open.
Absolutely,
If Mr.
absolutely,
Elroy Jones will collaborate with me.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, in your time at the Boys and Girls Club of America and the Madison Square Garden Boys and Girls Club, you encountered young lives shadowed by challenges. Could you share a short story that stayed with you, one that um, shows the spirits of the youth you've worked with?
I can. It's a little bit personal. There are many stories, and I would first I'm very big on paying homage to people and acknowledging those people who no man is on their own, and they have been people in my path who have guided me. And there was a woman at the Boys and Girls Club, Daryl Guzman. She was about 4'11", but she was a powerhouse, and she is the one who taught me how to program for young people. And I was young, I was fresh out of school, didn't know much of anything, but I really didn't want to listen to all of her tactics, right? I thought they were corny. And one day I went with her to a conference and I watched her train huge rooms full of youth workers. And I watched her, it was magical. And that was the day my mentality turned. And I started to really become a student of the field of youth development and family development. So there are so many stories from that location because of all we dealt with. But I would say that I'll speak to one story of resilience, and I'll be pretty brief. But there was a young lady there, and she had a younger brother, and they were extremely sharp. And I would come home and tell my mom, if I ever have children, I hope they end up like these two. And one day, this woman came in. She looked a little bit disheveled, and she asked for the young girl. And I let her know, there are no teenagers in the building at this time, so you're in the wrong location. And she gave me her daughter's name. And I looked at the staff. I said, do you have any little child by that name? And they said, no. So again, I let her know, you're in the wrong place. And when she gave me the young lady's last name, that was one of the teenagers that I worked very closely with. But I thought her mom had passed away because that's the story we were told. And whenever we had to have parents come up, she was bringing a neighbor in, disguised as her aunt. So her mom had a addiction to crack. And when the young lady came out and saw her there, she was very upset. And she yelled out, I told you never to come here. So I didn't address it at the moment, but we didn't have much conversation around it. But fast forward, I was leaving to take a job somewhere else. And on my last day, I was packing my office. And when it was time for me to go home, I had to travel 2 hours from the South Bronx to Brooklyn on the train. So sometimes the teenagers would do things to delay my departure at the end of the day. So when she came and told me she needed to speak to me, she cried. I said, okay, who's not your best friend today? Who broke up with you today? And she said, well, it's more important. And I said, well, no matter what you do, you're not going to keep me here late tonight. I have to catch the train. So she came back in. I said, if the problem doesn't go away in an hour, then you could come talk to me. Fast forward, she told me she was going into foster care. And she explained a little bit why. I said, well, I've never given you guys my contact number, but you can have my number. And if you need help with something, you can reach out to me. She called me one day, I'll bypass the details. At the end of the day, I found out that she had been in foster care as a little girl for many years, her and her two brothers. And there was an older brother that would call every day to make sure they arrived. We thought he was maybe in his 20s, and he came in one day and he was only 18. So the bottom line to the story, Devon, is I saw a story of struggle, I saw a story of strength, and I saw a story of resilience, because that young lady ended up living with me. She was in a foster care system, and she was not in a good foster home at all. It was very unsafe. And I let her know, look, I'm only 27. I live with my mom. I can't give you a lot, but I could give you stability. Let the foster care worker know that if they're okay, you can stay with me. And well, at that time I was 27. That means she was 17. I was 26. So at the end of the day, we went through a few things. She did live with me for a couple of years, and that's when I found out so much more about her story, and it was actually devastating. I shared that one story because, in spite of what her and her siblings were going through, you wouldn't know. And it taught me a lot. I was new working with young people and families. And I was working with a lot of people that were veterans. They were seasoned, but no one caught it. And it's not because the staff weren't good, they were incredible, but they knew how to hide what was happening that well. So she was with me for a couple of years, and I told her, until you get on your feet, here's how we're going to do it. And I let her know, get yourself in college so you have your room and board, etc. But this is always where you can call home. So we've lost contact over the years, but I share that story because, again, this is a young person that could have given up. And all I will say to you is her mom was addicted to crack in a bad way. And she stopped seeing her daughter as her daughter. I'll leave it there. Right? That was just one story. But she ended up doing very well in her life. Her brothers ended up doing well because there's a resilience in the community. No matter what it looks like, there's a strength in every community. If you
Yeah,
look for it, you'll find it.
absolutely. And those were rough times in New York City.
Yes.
Those were really rough times.
Yes.
But one of the
Very.
lessons one of the lessons in that story that's really powerful, and like you said, is you don't really know what someone is going through because they can hide it really well. A lot of us see the glitz and the glamour online on these social media platforms, and we think these people have it all together, and we want to. They're having such a great lives, and we want to be like them. But you never really know what. And I'm telling you from my cross with a lot of people, you never know the struggles that they're going through while you don't even realize that you really got it much better than they do. So sometimes you just got to be
Right.
thankful for the things that you have, right? And try to do the best you can with what you have, and don't kind of envy nobody else, because social media can make, with all these filters and all these different video edits, it can make life look real great and shiny and
Real
glitzy and
great.
glam, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
people is going through a lot right now in the world. We just got out of a pandemic, and a lot of people is still struggling to get back on their feet. So that was a
Yeah.
good, really great story, a great point. And so let me ask you this, right? You have a unique approach to engaging with youths by encouraging them to reimagine their story. How do you
Mhm.
help them visualize a life beyond their immediate circumstance?
That can be challenging, especially if you're dealing with a young person who, some of our young people grow up in environments where certain things are passed on to them and there's an expectation, right? Maybe mom is a member of the Crips, maybe dad's a member of the Bloods. And this is a reality for a lot of young people. And you don't
Mhm.
get a choice because you're brought up in it and it's the expectation. So, we're asking young people to imagine, and this is not the narrative for all of our young people. Some people are coming out of very strong households, but even those young people, you have to get to the root of them because there may be something that they need or they're lacking also. But for those young people that are coming out of that challenging situation, first you have to honor where they come from and not judge it. So if I have a young
Mhm.
person who's hustling or they're selling drugs or whatever it is they're doing, I have to meet that person where they are. I cannot ask you to listen to me if I don't listen to you, right? So
Absolutely.
first I need to find out what is that person's story.
Mhm.
Someone can say there's always an honest living to make, but if that's not what I know, I'm going to gravitate towards what I do know. So So if my way of hustling, if my way is to hustle to make life happen, you can't tell someone to stop. You have to show them something else. You can't just say it. You have to show it and let them feel it, right? So if someone says, well, I don't want to hustle, you better have a job ready for them, or interview, right? You may have to prep them and get them ready, but there has to be a goal in mind. And, I've dealt with young people that are gang involved, heavily involved. You have to meet them where they are. You have to honor that. I would have young people come to the Boys and Girls Club, and I know that they're heavily involved in the Bloods or whatever it might be. And I will let them know we're a gang in here too, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have our logo, you have your signs, we have our code, you have your code. So you're a gang and we're a gang. You do your gang business this way, we do it this way. So when you walk in these doors, you have to come and do it the way we do it because you're in our house. But we're going to honor you, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
certain things that I do understand
Mm-hmm.
that you do. I
Absolutely.
understand. And I would get staff to understand. Do you understand that gangs have a flow chart that's better than some Fortune 500 companies?
Mm.
And there are gang members that could teach these companies how to operate their businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? So honor their strength and then get them to see the other side. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. But if you ask someone to put something down, you have to give them something to pick up. You have to
Absolutely.
match. You have to supersede what is out there. And I
That's a
always would, as I became wiser, I would tell staff, if we had someone that was 6 years old, see the 6-year-old, but I need you to see him 10 years from now when he's 16. What did you give him today that will help him to survive as that 16-year-old that should be getting ready for college or work? If he's 16 or she's 16, in 10 years, that person's going to be an adult, possibly with their own family. What did you do or contribute to this young person's life so that when they hit adulthood, they're ready? So I know we have to work with this 6-year-old and this 16-year-old, but I need you to see his future. I need you to see her future. And then you can help them see the future.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's a
So my approach
powerful.
is always meet them where they are, meet them where they are.
Absolutely, that's a very powerful point. A lot of time, it's easier said than done, right? A lot of people, we want to help people change, but we really don't have no solutions for them. And if you're going to help somebody change, you need to have some solution for them. I think that's a great point. Listen, let's go pay some bills, and we'll be back in less than 60 seconds, y'all. Sit tight.
Got
Introducing
it.
Money Just Flew Out the Window by Janelle Pulley. Get your copy of the book. Money Just Flew Out the Window. It shows you how to manage and build family wealth. Discover how to protect your family and your future. How to build a proper financial foundation. Discover reasons why you have been financially unstable. Why financial freedom is important. How to key into the financial liberty your fellow men who have this knowledge are enjoying. Discover ways to retain the freedom regardless of your income. Support the family without stress. And lots more. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window now.
Thank you, and welcome, welcome back. That's a very powerful book by Janelle Pulley. If you don't have that book, definitely check it out on Amazon or Money Just Flew Out the Window.com, and you can pick that book up. I know a lot of people have transformed their life with just what's inside of that book and taking massive action. Um, but we'll get into that later. With that being said, transitioning from direct youth work to impacting community engagement at a broader level must have had its set of challenges. Can you share a moment that tested you, tested your resolve, and how you overcame it?
Devon, do you referring to like my work with young people or just life in general?
Well, just transitioning from where you was working with the the Boys and Girls Club or the youth at the Boys and Girls Club, and now to massive communities on the level that you are building communities within communities. I believe is your slogan. So just tell us what that transition was like
Yes.
and how did it test you?
The transition was not as challenging as it may seem, because whenever you're working with young people, you're automatically, and families, you're automatically immersed in a community. And when you understand community and you have a love for community and for the people, that transition is not as challenging as it could be if you come from a judgmental perspective. So when you talk community, even as a chaplain with the Worldwide Association of Small Churches and at New York Police Department, even there we learn to meet the person where they are, right? Don't just go in and say, I'm going to pray for you. Ask the person, what would you like me to pray for? So when you go into a community, find out what that community wants. Get to know those people. You have to smell it. You have to taste it. You have to feel it. That community comes a part of your vibration. If you're truly about community, and you first look and see what is the beauty in this community. So whether it's the person that stands on a corner every morning and drinks and may not be sober, that person is a part of the community. And when they go missing, there's a void. So I think the transition was not as difficult because I do have an understanding for community. I've always worked in environments that were outside of my community.
Mm-hmm.
When you live in New York City, there's a territorial thing. If you're from the Bronx but you're in Brooklyn, it's very, very territorial. Or if you're from Queens and you're on Staten Island, I've had to work every borough, and I had to know that community and become a natural part of that community. So the transition was never as challenging. Right now I work on a national level with dialysis patient citizens as the grassroots manager. So in that capacity, I'm dealing with people from all of the different states in the country, whether it's Minnesota, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, New York City. And we recently had about 80 people come into Washington, D.C. for Advocacy Day. And I heard a lot of people saying there's something different this year, right? There's a different energy. And, last year there was a cloud. There's a different energy because there's an understanding now of community. This was my first year doing the Advocacy Day with them. You have to build that community before the people even set foot in Washington, D.C., so that once they arrive in D.C., there's already a sense of belonging. There's a sense of team. There's a sense of mission. There's a sense of vision. So that's the behind the scenes work that you do when you're building community. So for me, the transition wasn't as hard when you believe it and it's a part of who you are, and your work is not just work, it's a passion. I used to hear people say, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I agree with that to a degree, right? Because when you love what you do, you go hard and you do work. But I get what that means. It's love and it's a passion. So you work hard, but there's a joy. So it doesn't matter where people are from. You never go into a community with the mentality of, I'm going to change it or I'm going to take it over, right? You don't get to gentrify people when you do the work that I've done with amazing teams. You go in and become a part of. And when you become a part of, the community will embrace you because they know if you're sincere or not. That community could smell you coming. They know you're not from there. As soon as you step foot in that area, they know you're an outsider. People watch, and they don't just watch, they listen, but they're going to watch you with their ears and their eyes because they're going to listen to what you say and they're going to watch what you do. And does it match? And are you doing what we need, or are you doing what you want? And if you're doing what you want without the need of the people, it will never work. Right? There's a song by the OJs back in the day, got to give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could also give them what they need.
Absolutely.
And you know what, Devon, I just want to say that I have been blessed because I've had amazing mentors and I've worked with amazing teams. So in the process of doing community, I've been surrounded, especially when I worked at the New York State Division for Youth, which became the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. You know, that was another learning and foundation. And there's one place that I worked, City Challenge, that dealt with young people coming from a boot camp setting. And there was a gentleman there that oversaw the entire program, you know, upstate and downstate. And he was, I believe, from the Army, the colonel. He came whenever young people were being discharged from the upstate facility to the city, mostly Brooklyn. He came to Brooklyn each time and went to that family's house. And one of the things with that program, most of the young people were gang involved. No one was ever asked to put down the gang, because the reality was that would be a death sentence. So again, it's meeting that community and the people where they are. Why would you ask this young man or young lady to denounce being a blood or Latin king or whatever it might be? That's not their reality. So you have to teach them how to exist while being who they've claimed to be, until they get to a place where they could shift gears. But right now, safety is not get home and say you're no longer in this gang. That's not reality. And that's one of the most valuable things that I came out of that location with. Embrace who they are and where they are and guide them to another place. But don't ask them to put that down, because that's becoming family.
Mm-hmm. And loyalties to the family first.
That's it. Family first.
Yeah. People got to understand. Your role has enabled you to weave community within communities. What is the secret to building these intricate networks of support and opportunities?
Creativity.
Mm.
Creativity. Because a lot of times when you are in certain situations, there may not be the funding to do what you want. So you have to have a mentality of, this is what the community needs. This is what I need to do or what I would like to do. So you have to find creative ways to make those things happen. And a lot of times that's through collaboration. A lot of times that's through working with the team. You know, I think you always hear me say things like there's I in team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because each person is coming in with that individual strength. So counting on the people that are part of your team, being creative, knowing that you're not doing this by yourself, being creative, being a troubleshooter, problem solver, and just really having a belief that every situation has an answer. So, you know, maybe this community wants to grow a garden. Well, we never grew a garden here because the soil is no good. All right, let's dig up that soil and get to the root of what it may be, and now go down the block to the store, right, the nursery, and find out from them what they can give. When you believe in your cause, you could get anybody to believe in that cause and support what that community needs. And that's what you do as a community person. You believe in it, and then you get other people to believe in that community. It could be a virtual space. It could be a physical in-person space. But first, you have to believe in it. You have to believe. And then as you bring those pieces in, next thing you know, you're interweaving community. So that person that owns the nursery, they're a part of that community, right? The people planting that garden, they're a part of that community. The sanitation department is a part of that community. Never look at someone as if they are not a part of that community, because there are hidden gems in the community. As mentioned, a person in the beginning that may be the person who drinks every morning on that corner. Maybe he had a garden when he was growing up. Maybe his family were farmers and he could tell you what to do. So never underestimate the value of the people. Without the people, you don't have community. So whether it's a working community or a neighborhood, whatever it might be, just remember everyone has a story. Everyone brings value. Get to know the people, and they will guide you a lot of times. You may be the face of what's going on, but that community is going to move the mission. That's who's going to get it done. But if they know that you believe in them and you're for them, you got it. You got it. It's making people believers. But you get them to believe because you're true. You're about that life. As they say, you're about it. Can't talk about it. You have to be about it. And you have to be able to roll up your sleeves in whatever space it is. And again, be strategic and creative. And never think that it cannot be done, because it can, whatever it is. There's always a way
Absolutely.
to get it done. And
Abs-
always leave that community better space when you leave it.
That's powerful in itself. And just the little I know about you, you're not just any community strategist. You think different about community. And it's just being creative is about having that mindset that allows you to, that mindset of really wanting to serve the people, that allows you to be able to do what you do. I've never came across anybody that's just so exceptional at what they do the way you are, with building community and the care for the people. You can see how much you care for people in your work. So, you're just an amazing individual. So with that,
Thank you.
with that being said, right, leading a team of over 200 staff and volunteers is no small feat. What leadership philosophies do you apply to foster company culture and drive your team towards the shared goal?
I'm laughing because I've been very unorthodox, right? I had to stop and laugh.
Mhm.
First thing I did is think back to my mentors that have guided me, that have been patient with me, and gave me a chance to make mistakes and grow. Some of them may be on this call. Greg Owens and a whole bunch of other people have allowed me the space to grow. So I always keep that in mind, that whoever I'm leading, I have to give them space to grow. Now, sometimes time is up, right? And this may not be working. But when I say unorthodox, I started out there as the team director and then became the senior program director and then the unit director. So the people that I ended up leading were people that I worked alongside. We didn't always see eye to eye. So now I'm asking you to listen and follow. And I knew that would be challenging. I would say the first thing for anyone leading a community or a space, you have to acknowledge your own stuff. So before I could ask you to follow me, I have to acknowledge what our relationship is and what it has been. And if there have ever been any dark spots or glitches in that relationship, we have to acknowledge it, discuss it, and say, hey, can we move past it? Can we agree to disagree or whatever it is? Because I'm here and I'm going to lead, right? But I want you to not just follow me as a leader. I need to be able to follow you because you have an expertise. So, when you're leading a large team, you have to have eyes in the back of your head, on the side of your head. You have to be able to listen. You have to understand that people are coming from different places. People are coming in with different experiences that are not yours. And it wasn't the best environment that I was in. It was incredible. It was magical, but there was undercurrent. So I had to I have the crazy side of me. When you work with young people, you have to be crazy. So please, don't look at me right now. I look like I may have it together, but there's the crazy side, to Yolanda. And that is the side that is, you have to be able to laugh. You have to be able to laugh at your mistakes. You have to be able to laugh when you fall, but you have to get back up. You have to always know that there's someone in that space, no matter what your position is, that may know more than you know, and not be intimidated by that. You have to embrace it. And I'll give you an example of the creative side. There was a team that looked good, but it was broken. And I asked for permission to shut down every first Friday of the month so that we could do building, so I could build the team. I didn't want them to look the part. I wanted them to be the part. So there was a time that we would have inspections and audits unannounced, and everybody was scattered. What are we going to do? And I hated that. And I wanted us to get to a place where when anybody walked through that door, we were who we were, and we did what we said we do. So there was no scurrying. Oh, we have an unannounced visit. All right, let's go. We know what to do, right? I read to my team, my leaders, the Three Little Pigs. We had story time. I got them snacks. The building was shut down. I read the Three Little Pigs, and I told them the only expectation is when I turn the pages, you have to say, ooh, wow. And they did. And at the end of the story, everyone knew what the moral was. If you don't have a strong foundation, your house could get blown down real easy. Let's build the foundation. And we put the work in. We did some heavy work. We did some personal development. We shared some truths that we put on that table. And at the end, on our last story day, after about 6 months, I read The Seven Chinese Brothers. Some of us know that story. And there was an emperor or someone who was trying to kill this person, but he didn't know there were seven brothers, and each one had a strength. He tried to burn the person, but they sent the brother that could withstand fire. He then tried to drown him. They sent the brother that could withstand water. So at the end, that emperor, king, or whoever he was, thought this person was just couldn't be defeated. He didn't know that there were seven brothers. And that's where we reached. We reached the place where we were a team that no matter what it was, we could get it done because we relied on each other's strengths. And when that happened, the community that existed within that space became better. The parents noticed it. The funders noticed it. The young people noticed it. So that's just it on the surface. But if you're going to lead or build community, you have to first acknowledge if something's broken, right? Not damaged. Maybe it's a little broken. You have to acknowledge if something's wrong. You have to acknowledge if maybe you've offended. Whatever it might be, you have to acknowledge before you can say, let me join, let me lead, or whatever it might be. You have to sometimes strip it down and bring it back up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Craig Allen says, acknowledge team members' expertise. You know, that's a powerful
Yeah.
piece. Thank you, Craig. Because one of the things is I'm a big believer in acknowledging your team members' expertise, but more so find out what they are. Because I think I have one of the best teams in the business space. I have knowledge from wisdom to newcomer, and I just discovered that one of my star team players worked for the California government for a piece of time, and I was nowhere.
You know,
So you really got to get to know your people so you can know what their
yes.
expertise is and what different arenas they have played in, so you can add that to it contributing to um, what you're building. So yeah, definitely powerful
Yeah. And
share.
yeah.
And I agree with Mr. Derek
And
Jones. Yolanda Brisbane, you're dropping gems. You're giving
I'm
a lot of
dropping gems because I've had mentors to give me jewels. And I took them, I wore them, and you gifted to someone else. And Craig Allen, who put that comment in, is a very powerful brother. We've
absolutely.
worked alongside each other. Um, and yeah, acknowledging people's expertise. Devon, you just said something in regards to community and piggybacking off of that comment in the chat, acknowledging people's expertise. A
Mhm,
lot of times we look at even senior citizens in communities. That person
mhm,
wasn't always a senior citizen. That person may be a retired correction officer or a seamstress or a professor, whatever it might be. Get to know the people. One of my favorite songs is Mr. Rogers. Who are the people in your neighborhood?
mhm,
Like, do you know who is in your neighborhood? And I worked in Rochdale Village in Queens at one point, and what a vibrant community! What a
mhm,
vibrant community! And they had everything. They had it all. There was a community center, and again, a community location that served as the hub where people could go for anything that they needed. It's self-contained. It's one of those communities that if you try to come in there and do something, you don't have nothing for them, because they pretty much, they're doing it because they are embracing everyone's talents and expertise. And that's what it's
Absolutely.
about. Who are the people in your neighborhood?
Absolutely. Yolanda,
Yep.
thank you so much for the gems you're dropping. But let's pay some bills, and we're going to come back with a few more questions. And I have some really deep questions I want to ask you. So let's take care of these bills, and we'll be right back, guys. Less than 60
Got it.
seconds.
Introducing Money Just Flew Out the Window by Janelle Pulley. Get your copy of the book. Money Just Flew Out the Window. It shows you how to manage and build family wealth. Discover how to protect your family and your future. How to build a proper financial foundation. Discover reasons why you have been financially unstable. Why financial freedom is important. How to key into the financial liberty your fellow men who have this knowledge are enjoying. Discover ways to retain the freedom regardless of your income. Support the family without stress. And lots more. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, So, Yolanda, you've received numerous awards and recognition for your work, including being featured in the New York Times. Was there a moment or achievement that felt like a turning point in your career?
Honestly, those turning points for me is when I saw young people achieve that. Those were, I had a lot, because when you see, someone once asked me one day at a staff meeting, they were annoyed because it was Black History Month and I was not trying to be difficult, but I had to be real. And everyone went around the table sharing what their buildings were doing for Black History Month. Oh, we're doing a talent show, there's a dance. And they asked me, what are you doing? You're running the largest building. I said, nothing. And they were uncomfortable. And they said, what do you mean nothing? What do you mean nothing? Nothing. We do Black history every day. My Black history is when those people come through that door with their college acceptance letters. That's how we do Black history over in this building. I don't have time for them to dance and sing. They do that one every day. But if you want to talk about Black history, I have the next Michelle Obama that just walked in and got accepted to Hampton University or whatever it is. Talk to
Mm,
me about that.
mm,
This is about young people making power moves, and our mission statement says that we teach young people how to maximize their potential. Well, dancing is cool and it's nice, but you got to show me something different. And I'm not going to sit at this table and tell you we're doing a talent show.
mm-hmm,
We're doing college prep, because every day they are Black. They're making history in who they are and what they're achieving right now in school. So it wasn't to be difficult. But again, let's hit it different. Let's paint a different narrative for these young people. We partied all the time, but that's not how I was going to identify Black History Month. It's bigger for us over here. We're going to party any day because Black history is every day. And that's how we did
mm-hmm.
it. That was our Black history.
It's right.
So
Absolutely,
those
absolutely.
are the turning points of my career. And I'm being honest with you and straight up. When a young person achieved, or maybe that young person wasn't doing well, or they weren't going to school, and now they're going to school. Those were the turning moments when you go home at the end of the day and you look in the mirror, and perhaps you're tired, but you feel good because you know you gave it everything that you have. You left it all on the floor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Serving on national panels and working alongside the U.S. drug czar, which is huge. It must have been an enlightening experience. What are some
Yes.
key insights you've gained from these high level engagements. You there? I think we might have lost you. Man, Yolanda's just awesome. She's been doing some amazing, amazing things with community and building community. Um, it's actually just a privilege to be able to have her on with us tonight. She's held numerous positions, has been invited to speak in Washington, D.C., and so much more. Oh, you're back. Sorry. Did you hear the question or you want me to repeat?
You can repeat it. I got some of it, but something went wrong. I started glitching. So I think I got most of it, but if you could just, give it to me again, that would be helpful.
Um, you know, I think it's powerful all these different positions that you've hold and working us along side like the drugs are the US drugs are um it had to be an enlightening experience, right? So the question is, what are some of the key insights you've gained from these high level engagements?
Working with the drug czar, Gil Kurlikowski. He was the drug czar at the time under the Obama administrator. What I learned from him, my key takeaway is that even in the role he fulfilled for the country, he was just a human being.
Hmm.
And he shared that he went into that line of work because he came from a family of alcohol abuse. And it was
Hmm.
his way of making a difference. And, it just shows it doesn't matter where you come from, certain things can impact people anywhere. So he was, you could look at him as just, a figure that represents the country and, creates policies and, does his best to keep the country safe. But you don't know behind that door is a man who has a struggle with his own family history. And this was his way of giving back and making sure other people, as much as possible, don't become victim to the drugs and the alcohol. So for him, it was also a mission. And when I was able to speak to him on the side, he openly shared that with people. So that takeaway was no matter where we are in life, we're all human beings, we're all people. Um, so that would be one. And as far as serving on the panel with the White House for youth development workers from across the country, it was just a matter of I'm not smarter than anybody. I'm probably just, there's that saying, go hard or go home. I'm not going home until it's done. Right. So it's sometimes that drive. And, it's like in a big game of basketball, a team could be down by a certain amount of points. Some teams may cave and just figure it's over. But you have those teams that they're going to play as if they're still winning. And then you
Hmm.
turn the TV off and then you come back and they won because it wasn't over until it's over. And that's been the approach, through most of my years. It's not over until it's over. So we go hard or we go home. And my teams, we weren't going home. We were going to finish it. So that would be the other takeaway, Devon, is it's not always being smarter, but it's being willing to go the distance
Hmm.
and to try something different. Don't be afraid to be creative and have a damn good time doing what you do.
So, looking
Those would be
ahead.
the key takeaways. Love what you do.
Go ahead. I didn't hear you.
No, I said love what you do. The rest will come.
Awesome, awesome, and that's a great point. So, looking ahead, what are some unmet needs in community engagement and youth development you feel passionate about addressing?
I would say, as far as community and youth development, I think we've become detached in a sense. I'm blessed because I was trained by what I call the last of the Mohicans. You had to be out there. You had to know the people. My first job, my title was a street worker. So I went from being a street worker, and then I worked on Hoe Avenue. Go figure. So that was the joke a lot of times. But we worked 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night in the worst of the neighborhoods, and we weren't allowed to partner with anyone. There were no cell phones. You had to go to a payphone, and at that time, the drug dealers were controlling a lot of the payphones. So you were lucky if you had a pager, but no one could call you back, right? If you hit 911, there was no GPS. They couldn't figure out where you were. So you had to know that environment. You had to know that community. So I think we're missing that touch, the human touch. Everything's become digital and computerized, and people are not computers. So now there may be a computerized system that tells you what the family needs. They could tell you anything, and you're going to respond. The computer's going to respond to what is said. But when you sit in front of me and we engage, you could tell me what you want, but I know what I just heard and what I saw. So I think that's one of the things that are missing. And I think people are afraid to get dirty. You know, you can't be afraid to get dirty in that work or in community, period, whether it's youth, adults, families. Maybe it's someone that's you're dealing with a population that's been incarcerated. The day that you become afraid to work with people, go find something else to do. Because that person sitting in front of you can be your parent, your brother, your sister. And again, when you love the people, you give them what they need and you give them what they want and you love doing it. You got to have compassion and you have to be willing to learn to be a student. I didn't reach where I'm at because I wasn't always this person. I had to grow and learn. And it's been an amazing journey because I was always willing to learn. Even if my mentors or supervisors, I may have gotten on their last nerve sometimes, but when we came in that next day or at the end of the day, I'm going to get it done because I know this person has more wisdom than me. I think I know. So that is why I now have so much patience, and my passion is training and teaching other people. How do you build community? How do you build young people? How do you help build families? Remembering where I was at one point. And that's why I could laugh and smile when people do certain things because I get it. I understand.
That's a great transition because we spoke here today a lot about youths and youth communities, but in this era where people more and more people is building online communities for their products and their services, their membership and their passion, their nonprofit and all these different things. Um, there's a need for someone like you with that knowledge and that expertise of how to make all these communities now work. For our listeners who are looking to make a difference in their communities, what advice would you give them to start impacting their community, the people in their communities' lives positively?
I would say first, know what it is that you would like to do. Maybe you want to help young people read, or maybe you want to help beautify the community, cleaning up garbage, whatever it is, know what you want to do. I would then say start with one person. Start with one person and then let it trickle down. You can start with a small group. If it's young people, don't be afraid to speak to them. Sometimes they have the grill faces or whatever it might be. Don't be afraid to speak to them. Even if they ignore you, it's okay. You keep coming back. You keep saying hello. How's everybody's day? I have young people around me every day who don't go to school. They smoke weed all morning. And I'll say, is everyone going to school today? Yes, ma'am. And then I'll engage them at another point. So I would say start with one person. Never underestimate the value that someone brings. It might be the drug dealer that has value. That might be the person that could bring you to the people or have the people listen to you, right? I've had those situations before. Yo, listen to what she's saying. Because even that drug dealer wants good for the community. That's his choice. And we're not going to judge why he's doing what he does. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want something better for his child or someone else in that neighborhood. So that might be your ally. And some people shy away from things like that. So you start with one person, find out who the players are in the community. When you find out who the players are, you know what you need to do and how you need to proceed. So you find your alliances from all walks of life, all ages, and you start there. But don't be afraid. Just talk to people. Talk to people. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely.
Whether the conversation starts with sports, go into the barbershop, go wherever the people are, and just start there. Just start. Get started. Whatever it is, just start. Love the
Abs-
people. Don't be afraid of it. And know that it's all good. It's all good. It will all work out if your heart is there.
Absolutely. People notice when you care. You know what I mean? They know when you care for them. And at the end of the day, it's our people. You know, we can't expect nobody else to come
It's
and
our
take
people.
people. You know what I'm saying? It's our responsibility to take care of our people. Um, you know,
That's it.
so in wrapping up, Miss Yolanda Brisbane, how do you uh, how do you want your contributions to be remembered, and what's next for Yolanda Brisbane in her mission to empower communities and transform lives?
I don't know what's next because I'm always open, and
Hmm.
I always ask God to show me and equip me on what is next. And as far as what I would want, I think you said what I would want to be the thing I'm known for, remembered for, something along those lines.
Yeah, what do you want your contributions to be remembered? How do you want your contributions to be remembered?
I want those contributions to be remembered by young people as out there doing the damn thing. They're out there doing it, big or small. They're doing it. They're relentless. They're courageous, and they themselves are making a difference because of how me and some of those other people that work with them have inspired them and pushed them. Because I will say this, I'm sitting here with makeup and a pretty blouse, but when you're in that field, it's not always pretty. It's gritty, and you got to be able to get down. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Um, but in the process, you still are a professional with a mission. So that would be my biggest thing. I work with adults now in the grassroots world, but in advocacy, when it comes to young people, I always wanted to be not if I could only touch one. I never believed in that. That's an excuse. You know you're going to touch one. You touch as many as you can. Don't limit yourself. If I touch one, if I change one life, then I made a difference. No, you didn't. You scratched the surface. You have to go beneath the surface and you touch as many as you can. And when you do, there's an army coming of young people that's ready for this world. So when I hear the bleakness, oh, the young people are doomed. No, they're not, because I know some out there that's coming, and the world should be ready for them because they have next. So that is
Absolutely,
how I would
absolutely,
want it.
and that's powerful. And just the care for young people, they are our futures, and if we don't take care of them, we don't lead by example, then we really have no future to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
Um, let's pay some bills, and then we'll come back uh, in less than 60 seconds and wrap it up.
Introducing Money Just Flew Out the Window by Janelle Pulley. Get your copy of the book. Money Just Flew Out the Window. It shows you how to manage and build family wealth. Discover how to protect your family and your future. How to build a proper financial foundation. Discover reasons why you have been financially unstable. Why financial freedom is important. How to key into the financial liberty your fellow men who have this knowledge are enjoying. Discover ways to retain the freedom regardless of your income. Support the family without stress. And lots more. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window now.
Absolutely, we're back. That's a powerful, powerful book. I know you have a little bit of experience with Money Just Flew Out the Window. What did you think of it?
I think that book, I think I have it right here on my table, actually. I didn't know you were going to even go there. It's on my table, but it's very powerful. I ordered it right away when I found out about it through Janelle, and I've already started to incorporate some things that she has put in that book for people. I may have certain things in order in life, but there's certain things that I still battle with, and that's wealth building, the financial piece, just constantly working on that. So it's practical. It gives you immediate things to do as soon as you open the book. So that's what I liked about it. I could get right to making change within the first few pages. So I would, recommend it for anyone. And I've gotten to know Janelle. This is not a plug. This is like real talk. For anyone who's looking to elevate their financial standing or how they do, business. We talk wealth building, not just saving money, but building wealth that will secure generations in your family. That's the key. So some of us are getting it late, but the key is this is a sister that has put this information out there so that whether it's late or early, you're getting it. And when we get it, there could be no more excuses.
Absolutely, really powerful book. Yolanda, listen, it's great having you on. The people love you. I can see by how they're pouring into the room and staying. We have people stayed with us for the full hour and 8 minutes, so you definitely have their attention. So, in closing, if someone wanted to reach out to you to possibly get insights on running their community, how can they get in touch with you?
If anybody's on this live stream, I would be willing to just give my email or phone number. And the email is my first and last name, Yolanda Brisbane at gmail.com. And Yolanda is Yolonda, Brisbane, Brisbane at gmail.com. Reach out, hit me up, let's collaborate. It's never about just one person. Let's do this brick by brick, community by community, workspace by workspace, and person by person. Let's
Absolutely.
do it.
Well, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. We do this each and every Friday,
Thank
Power
you.
Fridays, live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The chat was on fire tonight. Definitely, if you're watching this on replay, leave your comments below the video on YouTube or wherever you're watching, and we'll get Miss Yolanda to answer some of your questions, or myself or Janelle. We look forward to seeing what happens next with Miss Brisbane. I happen to have some insights, but I'm not gonna leak anything here. Some major stuff is coming down the path, so you definitely want to stay tuned. Follow this young lady. She's fabulous. She loved her people and she loved the communities that she built. We're doing actually a community service project right now, if you want to call it that, with a group that's working in internationally with women and helping them start businesses or make money. And we have a lot of that information coming up soon. Just helping these women be able to feed their children and take care of their families, buy land and build houses on it, and all this tremendous stuff. And Yolanda's playing a big role in that and what's going on there. So definitely make sure you plug in and stay tuned, and find out how you could be a part of what's going on. Is sometimes is as simple as sharing a video, liking a video, commenting. It doesn't take much to support a movement. And it's definitely a movement that's coming your way. So we want to thank everybody for watching tonight, Power Fridays Live. We definitely want to thank
Thank you.
Ms. the creator, Ms. Janelle Pulley, for having us here tonight. And of course, we want to thank the fabulous Miss Yolanda Bisbane for being
Oh,
our
thank
entrepreneur
you.
of the evening. My name is Devon Joseph, and we may have a question in the chat. Uh, well, we actually have another thank you for you from Otis Cook. Um, Says thank you, Miss Brisbane. God bless you. The fans love you. The supporters love you. The powerpreneurs love you. So, with that being said, everybody stay blessed
Devon,
and happy. Go ahead.
can I just say one thing? If anyone is streaming with us and you have impacted me in any way, whether we served on a team together or you are one of my leaders and mentors, thank you. I know I thank you, but I want to publicly say thank you. I love you.
Absolutely.
Because of you, I am.
Absolutely. So, thank you. And let's get out of here. Stay blessed and highly favored. Take care. Craig Allen snuck one in there. Thank you for sharing. The people are showing you some love. Miss Brisbane. You have another one here. Thank you both. Simply they trying to sneak one in here. Mr. Beautiful Men and Women Dino. Have a great night.
Coach Dino.
Coach Dino. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great night. We love you. Stay blessed and highly favored. And
Good
we'll
night,
see you
everyone.
next at
Yes.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see the replay on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and I believe Twitter. Take care. They just keep coming. They just keep coming. The people definitely want to say thank you.
I thank
So
them.
sending you some love. I'm trying to get it all in. They're saying, wait, well, wait, there's more. Wait, there's more. Wait, there's more.
You know,
They don't want to let you go. I have a question. All right, you got you got 30 seconds. Not even. You got 3 seconds to post your question before we get out of here. We've taken up so much of Miss Bisbrain time. I don't want to overdo it. Mr. Beautiful Men and Women Dino. I don't think he's gonna make it.
I'll call him. I think I have a contact number.
Absolutely. Then we'll do that. All right, guys. Stay blessed and highly favored. We love each and every one of y'all. Well, let me see what his
Yes.
question is. He just question just popped up. I have our email now. Thank you.
There you
Okay.
go.
Say no more. Take care.
Blessings, everyone. Stay safe.
All right. Take care.